that you went on to beat Steve Welch, one of the best players, chair players ever, 6 games in a row to win your gold medal?
Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, it was a moment that obviously was very dear to me, you know, because that situation, just I'm tearing up.
I brought you back too far.
You did.
Like a psychiatrist, going back in time.
I feel like I'm on Oprah. Yeah, it was.
Gosh darn it, you're going to make me cry now. I have to tell you, before that match, or maybe I did tell you, I said, you're not going to be able to find me in the stands. Because I was so emotional and so nervous that I took a seat in the stadium of 10,000 people and it was full. And I didn't want you to know where I was because I couldn't sit still. And every time you missed a ball, I was fidgeting and blaming myself. I didn't train you properly. So here we are. You're down 2-love. And where did you dig? Where did you go?
I mean, I think it was just that I was, obviously I wanted to win and like it was like a very unique situation because like as you said, there'd been such a build up and, you know, ever since it was announced, I mean, obviously I felt pressure, you know, I went in as the #1 player, I went in as the hometown favourite, and I don't know, like I guess that was the moment of truth, so to speak. And maybe it was, you know, 7 years in the making, but, and as you mentioned, like Stevie is a very tough competitor and, you know, it was only like a few points, you know, here and there that kind of swung the match. And obviously that was a very important moment. You know, we split sets early in the 3rd set and I just wanted to take it, and it was very difficult, but I just wanted to take it back to the pure basics of if I was serving, I wanted to make sure I kept my head up, you know, because I had a tendency to drop my head. If I was returning, I wanted to make sure that I just stayed a little bit longer with the return because I had a tendency to, you know, peak. And so I just tried to bring it all back. And the way that the rallies were developing, you know, we were having long rallies. And I knew from a tactical perspective, you know, that Stevie could hurt me on the backhand. But he couldn't hurt me so much on his forehand. So I just tried during the rallies to have that in the back of my mind. That's very difficult, but just to have that tactic just kind of floating around in there that if I had the chance, I wanted to put it, you know, to his forehand side. And so as the points, you know, kind of developed and, you know, I would try to get the first serve in because he was good, you know, at kind of pressuring me on my second serve. And obviously, you know, the tighter it got, you know, I didn't want to be hitting a lot of second serves. So I just tried to bring it to those things. I didn't think about the gold medal. I didn't think about the crowd. Like, you know, I didn't think about, you know, I'm in Sydney. I didn't think about this is the most important, you know.
But you pulled it off. And, you know, some of the spectators that were out there that were virtually there, the production actually got out onto the web. And we were able to see that match. Randy Snow actually did the color commentator. I don't know if you remember that. And he was just jumping out of his chair at some of these long points that you and Stevie were putting together. And if I remember right, Welsh's forehand, he had this kind of slapping, slicing forehand that was breaking down. He lost a couple points doing that. But you were able to step it up, and boy, at the end, when that last point was finished, you just looked up into the stands and you says, "Oh my God, I won! I can't believe it!" And you just see this coming through your face, and all this energy just kind of going out of you. It was remarkable to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sense of relief, you know, because as I said, like there'd been such a build-up that I just felt, you know, because it was draining, like no doubt, you know, that I felt, and plus, you know, the pressure that I put on myself as well. But yeah, I felt relieved, I think, more than, you know, anything. Can we talk about something else? But it was funny because, you know...
who was Steve always the toughest opponent that you faced throughout your career?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of different... And I played for 15 years, and, you know, there was a lot of different players that were obviously world-class players. And as I kind of moved up through the rankings, you know, I would meet these guys more often. And at first, you know, in the early 90s, it was Laurent Giammattini, Randy Snow. And then mid-90s, it was Stevie Welsh, Kai Schrameyer, you know, Ricky Moyet. And then, you know, Robin Emerland came along. So, I mean, I was always having rivalries, you know, with different players. And I think that was the beauty of, you know, having Rich on my side, that, you know, he could look at those matchups and kind of, you know, dissect what was happening in our matches. And I think that was why Rich was so great, that we could get together, and because the different thing was that during the rivalries, you know, a player would get hot. And so Ricky would get on a streak and win 4 in a row against me. You know, Stevie would get on a streak and win 3 or 4 in a row. Same with Randy, I mean. And so we had to figure out what's happening with these matches. And so I'd get together with Rich and we'd discuss different things about tactics. And, you know, that's why I think this DVD is so great, because I think players tend to get into a rut. You know, they lose a certain amount of times to a certain player and they just accept it, that player is better. You know, and I think that's why having a really good coach and someone that you can trust, you know, you can get together and work out a plan. Because I think sometimes these streaks and these rivalries can end up being, oh my God, this guy has won 10 in a row against me. And you're like, you know, mentally, you're just, you know, it's hard to come back from that. You can, but, you know, you kind of want to not let it get too out of hand. And so I think that's, you know, really important.
So there's one of those rivalries you had with Ricky that you had lost 4 in a row to him, and you were getting fairly psyched out. And we hooked up with Alan Fox, the great sports psychologist, the great player, a mentor of mine when I was very young. In fact, I still have side aches for all the times he made me run. I don't think I ever got over them. But you had some psychological sections, mental toughness sessions with Alan. Can you share? And next time you played, you beat Ricky. So can you share what he helped you get over, helped you through, helped get you focused, get your head in the right place, is what we're basically saying.
Yeah, Alan was great. I mean, he was fantastic, and you know, we were able to chat on the phone. And I mean, I think the thing that he really tried to get across was you have to prepare before the match. You know, you have to say to yourself, you know, this is how I'm going to react during the match. You know, I'm not going to look over there and think I'm playing Ricky, a guy that has beaten me the last 4 times. You know, I'm just going to keep my mental focus within a discipline. And the discipline is the serve, the point has eventuated. I look over at the ball boy. He throws me the ball. I've got the ball. The next serve. You know, you just keep it as that kind of discipline.
So the importance of routines as
Exactly.
you're playing, to keep yourself focused and not let your mind wander.
Oh, that's huge.
And you had something that Alan had as well when he competed. You had this strong desire to win, where the rest of us mortals, and clearly including myself, I had the strong desire not to lose. But you break down often when you become fearful. So I found it really intriguing when you shared with us part of your mental preparation. Okay, what's the worst thing that could happen?
You have to do it.
What's the worst thing that can happen? I could lose. sun's still going to come up in the morning.
Yeah, and I think mentally that changed the game for me. That got me to the next level of not playing to lose. And you know what? Sometimes it didn't work. You know, sometimes I would, you know, feel the pressure, and you know, I'm not going to sit here and say every match I played since I had that realization, you know, I didn't, you know, feel the pressure or I didn't choke, because I did. Like, everyone feels the pressure, and there is no, I guarantee there is no tennis player that has ever gone onto a tennis court and said, oh man, I've played all these matches, you know what, I never choked. That is so not true, because everyone feels it. And you know, that's why I think it's important, like, for beginning players to realize that you'll play matches where you will feel tight. You know, you will have a lead and you'll lose. And that's just the nature of the beast. You know, it's like how you learn from that, how you put these different mental techniques into practice, and then that's the way you come back. You know, that's the way that you can get mentally tougher. Because sometimes that's all there is. Sometimes you might have the same skills as the other guy. I'm not saying that I was like uber talented, because I wasn't. It was just that mentally I had that little bit more desire, I think, than the other guy, and I think that won me a lot of matches. You know, so I think, you know, that's you have to want it. You know, if you don't want it more than the other guy, and he wants it more than you, then that could be the difference, you know, between winning and losing. I mean, you might have the same great tactics, you might have the same technique, but if you just want it a little bit more, you know, that can mean the difference between gold, silver, bronze, semi-final, final, losing first round, you know, whatever it is. So I think that's important.
Fantastic.
Well, David, thank you very much for sharing all these insights, bringing a tear to my eye.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate.
A tear to your eye, reminiscing. It was quite a run that we had together, and it was my honor to be your coach for all those years. The traveling, the Olympics we went to, 3 Olympics. You medaled in every one of them. And of course, the gold medal in Sydney. I have to tell one quick story before we finish. So I arrive in Sydney, and I think it's your mom. I arrive, and your mom says hello to me and says, oh, I'm so relieved now. I said, why are you relieved? She said, well, you're here now. I know he's going to win a gold medal. So you're not the only one that had pressure. I had the pressure of your mom, you know, putting that on me that, oh, well, no question now, Rich is here, you're going to win a gold medal. But you did it. I wasn't out there on the court. That's the most lonely place to be. And frankly, when you were out there spilling your guts and your emotions and your effort, I was happy it was you instead of me, because I couldn't have done it.
Well, mate, I could not have done it without you.
Yeah.
I say that 100%.
Well, thank you for that. I'm sure you're being way too kind. All right.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, David.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
You had a great run.
Paralympic champion and gold medalist, representing Australia, David Hall.